what your choices have been, and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now. And welcome to Whole Soul Mastery's Sounds of Circles Heart Sharing in the Round. I'm Marie Moeller, and I'm an author, intuitive, and a host of the Whole Soul Mastery podcast series. And I'm here today with Renee Tainter, Caroline Chang, Sharon Ramsbottom, and Vanita Lakwala. And Mary Lozano, who often joins these roundtables with us, is with us energetically today. So I just first want to welcome you, and I'm so grateful that we're gathering in the month of December 2020 together. I know, do you feel that? Just to bring our light together and to share the messages that are streaming through our awareness, our consciousness, the wisdom of the ages that lives inside us, right? And together, when we're here as a collective, that's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of grace. That's a lot of lessons learned. And to me, we'll be talking about that today. But a lot of December 2020 is this culmination of the frequencies and the energies and the journey of the old world age and cycle as we're simultaneously birthing into the more expansive light, and our wings are activating to be lighter, freer, emancipated, and in our divinity codes in new ways in this brand new earth garden that we're seeding now in this conversation today and everything we're doing as we flow through the month of December. And maybe I have several topics to talk about today, but maybe we want to first engage the energies around what it's like to be in this interdimensional timeline more and more consciously. Many of our listeners know that we have been bridging this time. This has been the bridge times between the 3D realm that we have all been living in, this 3D matrix that we've traveled for lifetimes. And we've been moving into this 5D higher dimensional timeline for some time now, many of us. And there can be what I'm calling an interdimensional stress. That's something that might be in our unconsciously happening to some of us who are not aware of these two timelines. Some people, when I'm talking about the two earths and the two timelines, we all know people in our experience that don't even know that any of this is happening. But some people, whether they're aware or not, can feel this difference between the two timelines, and especially people who identify as light workers, light warriors, seeders of the new earth garden. However we understand ourselves to be flowing in these new energies, when we are in these higher timeline, these higher vibrations, like when we're in these round tables together, and then the round table closes out, we open our door, we go grocery shopping, you might need an oil change in our car, family members are calling us, there's emails to respond to. And inevitably, we do experience moments in our days or in our weeks where there's a much lower vibration that we bounce into. And whatever that might be, I'm calling that experience, there's some kind of awareness of an interdimensional stress. And I've just recently done it. I'm going to let you guys share what you're feeling about all of this too soon. But I just want to say, I just podcasted with somebody. I haven't posted it yet. A wonderful being named Patrick, and he is trained in heart math. He took some of the heart math trainings, and he was talking about stress, and there are different kinds of stress. And to paraphrase what he was sharing with me, but he was talking about safe stress. There's like that danger stress, like the fight or flight responses. And then there's also something that's more safe stress of like these cues inside us that engage us to Like he used the example of like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, right? That's a cue inside us, but it's not danger. Our fight or flight, all of our fight or flight mechanisms don't have to trigger. It's a cue from us that we need to be making a choice and moving in a different direction, right? And taking care of that. And that's what I feel is when we engage and we feel these two timelines, these two earths, we can sometimes, when there's a much lower vibration, it can trigger all these alarm bells of the lower vibrations. And some people can really get stressed out in the holiday season in 2020. And as we navigate these two timelines. And so, that's a big concept, interdimensional stress, making sense and coming to terms with these two worlds that are existing in our world, and the vibrational gap between the lower dimensional timeline and the higher dimensional timeline, and how we navigate that when we're bouncing into that. But it's something that I feel like we want to bring attention to, the world of 3D, and I call it 3D land, and also being people who know about the much higher timelines and choosing to be there as much as we can. It's quite a journey right now, and I'm curious what you all think about that. Yeah, Caroline, then we'll get to you, Renee. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I, exactly what you were kind of describing was my experience on this past Friday. It was, we've had unseasonably nice days here in the Poconos where it's normally snowing all the time in the winter, but it was 60 degrees on Thanksgiving Day, which was beautiful. And this past Friday, it was in the mid to upper 40s. The sun was shining. I went to the lake. I saw the most amazing. I mean, I go to the lake all the time and watch the sunset, but this sunset, I've never seen anything like it. It was so amazing. I was meditating. I actually shot a video there, and then I was meditating and I was watching the sunset, and it actually was the sun was actually dancing. It truly was. And I was like, wow, that is so cool. And I honestly, as far as vibrationally, I was higher than I've ever been that I can recall. I was just in a state of bliss that I can't even put human words to.
Mhm.
And so now, so after the sunset, it's like, okay, it's time to go home. The sun is now set. I'm on my way home. I pull onto my block. I live on a cul-de-sac. It's a small cul-de-sac. I pull on my cul-de-sac. And because it was a nice day, two of my neighbors were out in their yard. There was two different neighbors in one yard. So, but they were out talking. So it's like, oh, let me pull up and say hi. And I really just wanted to share my light, share what my vibration with them. As soon as I got out of the car, I could feel it wasn't a vibrational match. They weren't, in this high vibration that I knew I was in. But I said, you know what? I tried to describe the sunset to them. I was like, I'm just coming from the lake. I just saw this amazing sunset. And one positive thing they did say is, yeah, it's such a beautiful day. That's why we're out here. It's like, yeah, it is a beautiful day. And then within a minute, they went back to complaining about what they were complaining about before I had gotten there. And like I said, as soon as I stepped out of the car, I could feel it's a vibrational thing. It's like, no, they're not where I'm at, but I want to share where I'm at with them. Okay. Yeah. And so all I basically said to them when they got back into their complaining mode, I just said, you know what? I try to focus on just the positive. I try to stay in, but you know what, you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I gotta get home. I'll see you later. But I was happy that it didn't trigger me. It didn't lower. I was still, when I left them, even though they were 3D, solid in 3D, okay, and complaining about even they were complaining about things that didn't even happen yet. That it's like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, why? But I didn't go into that discussion with them. I'm like, okay, just send them love and light and keep it moving. And then when I get home, I turned on my computer because I had recorded a video at the lake. So I wanted to start working on that video to share with my listeners. And my cousin messaged me, the cousin I've spoken about before. But the last thing I had sent her, I sent her a show from The High Wire, which is one of my shows that I watch weekly to get my information from. I don't watch mainstream news, everybody knows that, but there are news programs on the internet that I trust. And so I sent her The High Wire. I just said, this is one of the shows I listen to weekly, and sent that was the last thing I sent to her. The first sentence of her email was, "You're delusional." And I was like, okay. And it was long. I stopped right there. I stopped right there. I'm like, you know what? You do you, I'll do me. Okay, I love you. I'll send you love and light. This is me. But basically, all of that is to say, I'm in such a high vibration and I know it. And I know not everybody's there. I do. But all I can do is send them love and light and invite them up. At this point where I'm at, especially in December 2020, I can't go down there. I can't lower my vibration. All I can do is stay up here and invite them up and send them love and light. I can't force them up. I can't beat them up. All I could do is send them love and light and invite them up to where I'm at. So, and I got that message back in January of this year, that this year is not a year to be on the fence. This is not a year to have one foot. And I got that in January of this year. The message was clear. 2019, 18, 17, that was okay. It was okay to have 1 foot in 5D and 1 foot in 3D. Those are not this year. I got it loud and clear. This year, you have to make up your mind. Are you going to be in 3D, which is no judgment? Or are you going to stay in 5D? No fence, no being on the fence. And I got that early this year. It's not, I had to make up my mind where I wanted to be and stay there. And so I can say that the only time since March to now, I had a little shaky ground, I guess late November, more like early December. It was kind of, I guess I had shaky ground early November, came out of that because I had Thanksgiving. So that brought me right out. And then I had shaky ground early December because things that I was hoping to happen had not happened yet. But Spirit said, let go of all that anticipation. Just let go. Know that it's already done and keep your vibration high in every now moment. And keep sharing, shining your light, sharing your truth, and sending love and light to the world. Because that's how by me shining my light, it is touching them. Even if they don't know it, it is. So that was, I was excited to share that with you guys and the listeners, that it's about now, especially now in December 2020, you want to stay in the 5D vibration and just not close your eyes to what's going on in 3D. You can't, because you're still in the physical body. So we're still here in 3D. But all we can do when we're there, we want to choose to stay there and just send our light to the 3D realm, which is collapsing in front of our eyes. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I think we can all resonate with some of the energies that you just shared. And Renee, I wanted you to have a chance. You wanted to share something.
Well, and I was resonating with what you were saying too, Caroline, because I have chosen 5D or higher consciousness or whatever, the divine mind, divine heart ways of living. But I can't always stay there. And so I think my journey is about the moments when I'm not there and I'm tempted to react instead of respond. And so I So I think when I have those moments, because I'm conscious and I also know about my reactive mindset and my divine mindset, there's always a choice. But in those like really intense moments, I'm like, I'm in this spot where the energy is so intense. I already know what I want to choose, but I might be so overwhelmed that I'm not like, I have to go through that process of allowing those emotions, whatever they are, to at least express and flow out, because there's always a point of time that now that that energy has been through you, maybe I never expressed it before. That's in my case, that's true. I've had a lot of emotions that I didn't allow myself to express in my life. So now was the time for me to do it to myself. Then I knew that I had to respond from my divine mindset in the way of understanding, accepting, allowing, forgiving myself, forgiving others. And so I think that journey, I think we've been on it. I've been on it. I just think it's been way more intense this year because of the light. I keep going back to the light. When I hear people are in really deep fear, and it's fear of the unknown, it's also fear that they can't manipulate the energies around them to even to bring what they want in their life or to get out of what they want to get out of in their life. They're not, you know, and that to me, that energy is, if you allow it, will drive you into your heart where the light is, where you don't have to worry about it.
As we're talking about these energies and we're listening, and I love how you said, Renee, that there's a part of you, that there's a wisdom inside you that knows to allow that energy, if it's lower vibrational, whatever we want to call that, to move through you, because it's the movement that helps it to dissipate, to dematerialize. When we bottle it up and we want to resist or avoid or suppress or any of those things, it doesn't get the expression and it doesn't get to come out in the light. And when we move deeper into this journey and this awareness of the hero's journey, this ascension journey we're all making, we are rising. But rising doesn't mean ignore all the stuff we don't want to see. Rising means acknowledging, and this is really important. I've shared this in some podcasts, I think, and certainly maybe in some videos for my transmissions, but we all have wiring for the 3D Earth. We've been here a long time. So if that's a circuit board, if that's like energy, you know, electrical wiring inside us, we all have that. And we all have this higher timeline of vibrational light and the fluid, flowful, loving, very divine feminine and divine masculine in union inside us. And there's a flickering that happens. And many of us are aware of that flickering. We see, you know, you were in the high vibe with the sun, right? The sunset, Caroline. And then you drive home because you never know what's going to greet you there, right? and there it was. There was the 3D in conversation with itself and that lower vibrational timeline. And we can recognize we have that timeline inside us. We have all that wiring. You saw that, were aware that they were in that timeline. They were, you know, the electrical energies were all connected and all lit up in 3D, like a 3D Christmas tree in its own way, right? And all that circuitry was alive and well. You brought your light into that and they saw it. And then they went back and chose unconsciously or consciously their 3D timeline and that circuitry. But like Renee's saying, sometimes we have to express, those people needed to express that complaining. They needed to have that experience because that's where they're resonating right now. And it's also how they're moving energy. Maybe 5 years ago, they didn't speak about these things. It was all bottled up. And maybe 2020 has it coming up and out. So we can see more and more of that 3D timeline. And then those of us that are in the higher timelines, because you didn't resonate with their complaining, what they were specifically complaining about, you can hold that frequency, but you bounced in and you flow out and you went back into your house, and they continued on with their conversation. And we're all going through those things. It was interesting, just a simple little example. I went and had an annual well check in the last week with the doctor, and I only see my doctors once a year. Luckily, I feel very fortunate, and I keep myself in a higher vibrational state. And they always kind of look at me, I'm one of the few patients they really don't hear from. And that's across any doctor that I've seen. It might be an annual visit, and I just report in and I'm doing well. And they tick the box that I'm doing well, and we're all happy. But she asked a couple questions like, seriously, you've had a good year? Like, you haven't been impacted by all the things going on? And I said, no. And so your work hasn't changed? No, I'm doing all the same things I was doing before. And she's like, really? So it hasn't disrupted? And she asked like 4 or 5, like poking around, like, are you sure you're not having some kind of stress because of all that's going on? And I really just said, really, my life has continued. Just, I'm still doing all the things and more. Because I was aware in that moment when she was asking, I have chosen to. I have chosen to be in that higher timeline, not because I'm better than whatever her vibration was or what she was asking about, because I know the 3D circuitry she's asking me from. And I can join that 3D frequency. Believe me, I have enough people in my life that can poke around and get me to join the 3D circuitry in my life. But I'm also so aware, because I've been in this journey for a while, that I do have a higher timeline. I know, like you saw that text, Caroline, from your cousin, and you saw the first line. Sometimes I will see emails come in and I know what's coming in that whole package. And I will consciously choose that if I'm going to read that, I might read it later. I might go outside, so I have all of nature supporting me while I read that particular email and make my choice in terms of how I'm going to respond. And this is what we're navigating right now, because there are these 2 timelines. And sometimes when we say there are these 2 timelines, they sound like they're outside of us. They're inside us, and they're in this circuitry that we have, and we're wired for both. And some of us are learning, and those of us here gathered together know this kind of integration, this unification that's coming together. And yet we're also aware of the 3D earth that has these lower dimensional vibrations. And for people who might be bouncing into our podcast for the first time, they're saying, what are they talking about? 3D, 5D, low vibe, high vibe? It's a frequency, it's an energy, it's an awareness, it's a presence that we're living from. And that presence can be called, we can call it the 3D earth, that has a greater density. It's heavier. It's got energy sometimes of pain and confusion and lostness and judgment. Those are heavier ways that we can show up in our life. And then the 5D earth, as I know you all know, but for our listeners, it's this lighter, more fluid. There's just flowful movement. We are not on a linear timeline anymore. If we want to be somewhere, we tune in vibrationally and we're there, right? We are traveling vibrationally in this higher timeline, and we're joy and happy vibrations, right? And peaceful vibrations help our locomotion, and they help us move in these higher timelines. And so when you see people complaining and frustrated, and they're trapped, they feel, sometimes whether it's helpless or a victim, or they can't change anything, they don't have any power to change anything, whatever those lower vibrations, they've forgotten that all they have to do is think the thought, feel the feeling, and they're in that timeline. They're in that place beyond whatever they're complaining about, whatever is causing them suffering. So I wanted to bring it, and the dimensional stress, that interdimensional stress, is that a lot of people don't have this awareness that we have. They don't have this language. So when something's happening to them, or in the world that makes them feel more confused or more angry or more fearful, That's all there is. So their attempt to find some power is to emote it, say it, speak it, and bring it up and out. And that is a part of the process until we learn there are even better tools to transmute that energy. And so there's a wisdom, and maybe Sharon and Vanita want to add to this, but there's a wisdom in how it's coming up and out. And then as we go further in the journey, we gain some other tools where we know how to move the energy differently, right? Yeah, what would
I,
you
I,
like?
I just wanted to add two quick points that there is no judgment, and you guys know this, and anybody that listens to my podcast knows. For me, there is no judgment for people where they're. And this came to me this morning too in my awakening. This when I say awakening, when I opened my eyes this morning, every 7 billion people on the planet are exactly where they're supposed to be, and they are perfectly divine, everyone. So there is no judgment from me, like where my cousin's at, where my neighbors are at. No judgment at all. And everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be. And also, and to go back to what Renee was saying, please, whatever you feeling,
Mm,
and this I learned a while back, feelings are your communication with spirit. Whatever you're feeling, you have to express it. You can't hold that in. That's what causes cancer and illnesses, by holding in your feelings. You have to express whatever you're feeling whenever you feel it. You have to let it through and out, because that is your communicating with spirit. So I didn't, so the 2 points I wanted to make is never suppress what you're feeling, and never judge where anyone is, because that other is you. My neighbors are me. My cousin is me. It's just that they're me in a different
mm,
um, vibration right now, because we are multidimensional. We are all vibration. And just right now, my vibration is up here. Theirs is a little lower, and all I do is send them love and light.
mm, mm. Thank you. Yeah, Sharon.
Um, okay. This is very interesting because I've kind of, I'm going to see if I could try to be coherent here. So I'm seeing things now. I'm moving a little bit out of the idea sort of paradigm. Everything is just an idea. It's beliefs that we have. And this is gets us so stuck because when people don't have the same ideas and beliefs that we are carrying within us, there's friction. And I am seeing it now as dissonance.
Mm,
And and so it's more like a song. We're each a song, and we're looking to be harmonious. We are moving together in union. And every note, every song is so important and beautiful, regardless of the tone, of the octave that they're playing in. It is the God song, right? We are the notes in the song, and we're all moving together. But what happens sometimes is that we meet something that becomes is in dissonance with us. We're not blending very well. And it's usually an opportunity. It's usually a beautiful opportunity to allow other people's song to just be sung. Sometimes we're just the audience. We're the audience, and they're on stage. And we might not, love the opera or whatever they're singing or doing, but, they're expressing, and they're perfect in their expression. And so we have a choice, and it's a choice. Vibration to me is the choice. I can either be in love and in total acceptance of who they are and just allow them to be that without judgment, Or I could, as Caroline did, go into her home and move on, you know.
I
But
allowed them to
yes,
be. I
you
just
can
didn't
applaud
like
them,
it.
but
Yeah,
you
I
don't have
allowed
to
them to
stay for
be.
the show. You know, you don't have to stay for the show. You
So
can.
exactly.
You
That's
can.
yeah. I chose not. It's like television. It's like when you're flipping the channels
Yes.
and there's a horror movie on. No, I don't want to see that one. I just flip the channel. That's all.
Tune out. You don't
Yeah.
have to.
Here's what I think is a really big problem, and you see it on a massive scale right now. The reason people get upset with you is because you're not doing it the way they would.
Yeah.
You're not thinking it the way they would. You're not acting like the way they would. That was one of my first early revelations of, because I was on the airplane as a flight attendant, wondering why all these little battles are going on everywhere. And so I started looking at it and really examining it and accepting humanity. So my first lessons were accept humanity and then accept my humanity, or the other way around, accept my humanity, accept everybody else's. And so that people freak out if there's people that aren't doing it the way they should, and they can't accept it. They can't accept it, so they have to react. And then in that pain of their not accepting it, and if they can't take personal responsibility for their own creation and their own feelings and their own outlooks and stuff, then they have to project on you. They've got to project on you. If there's no personal accountability or looking at things, and that makes it difficult. Like, I mean, not difficult, Caroline, because you said you just accepted it, and I accept people, but I don't always get accepted. And so that is different. What were you going to say, Sharon?
Oh, Renee, I'm feeling your heart.
Yeah.
I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you.
Mm.
I'm really, you are, I know, I feel your heartache. I can feel your heartache. And I hear what you are saying um, because you've been given an opportunity, and I've been there, so I feel you. And honestly, it's very hard to be in this place where people that you love and care about are not aligning with you
Right.
and do not necessarily see you.
Or I'm not aligning with them.
But well, but that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to choose where we are and to be and to because that's all we have is our choice for the moment in our lives, right? And so your choice is to be who you are, fully expressed in
Right.
the moment. That's your choice, and that is your gift to us. That is your gift to us. And their gift to us is to do the same. And so when they are at a place where we're not in harmony, where there's opportunity for growth and understanding, and we're in pain even, the gift is to see the gift, is to allow it to play out, to be in your highest expression when you can, to honor how you feel, and also to honor their feelings. And together, and with the grace of God, it will all be healed, but not only healed, but it will get to a place where you can truly, truly be the amazing, beautiful, magnificent expression of God that you are without dimming your light, right? And each step, each time they're giving you this opportunity, your choice is to just shine brighter, to be in your heart, to do that is who you are, and it's not easy when you are in dissonance. And I know this, I've been there, and I also know that the gift that comes after is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And we wouldn't have it otherwise without the journey through it.
Right.
And I'm sending you so much love because you are love. Like you so are, you are the vessel of love. And so, you know, if you just stay within that vessel of who you are, everything, you know, is going to just, it will just all work back
Such a
together.
beautiful
Yes,
message.
beautiful.
And the painful part is that, you know I am that love. I was that love with my parents. They couldn't see it or receive it. And so you want to be the person, you want to, how can I say this? It hurts when I'm not really seen. You know, it hurts that that love, well, my perception is that love isn't being received or understood. And yet here we are. Like you said, the highest thing you can do is be who you are. That's also the only thing you can be.
Exactly.
Is who you are. And so I've been learning in this last year to be at peace with that person who I am, because I have felt and experienced other people not being at peace with who I am. And that's the part that I think this year has been about, is getting rid of the things that I believe that have to change my behavior or thinking or whatever, so that I can be in harmony with people around me that don't understand me. Clearly, people like us, we love from a higher place where we can accept people where they're at. You're not necessarily you want to be in relationship with a hardened criminal or anything, but you accept his humanity, you accept his divinity. And it's a solo journey. We talked about that. How many people in your life think exactly like you? Or maybe not exactly, but close to, right? But Sharon, thank you for those words, because it has been something that I have been leaning on the light for. You know, wisdom for me to handle it in the highest way that I can handle, you know, the people in my life.
Another thing, Renee, for me, this is what helps for me, knowing that those others are not outside of me. Knowing, when I say that, knowing that I am creating the scenario with them. I wrote the role for them. The person that gets under your skin the most in this world, you told them to be that way. You created them that way in your universe. I don't know if you've ever heard of me speak of a book. It's a children's book, The Little Soul in the Sun. It's by Neil Donald Walsh. It's on YouTube where he's reading it. It's a children's book I bought for my grandson. Read that book, The Little Soul in the Sun. It explains that when you were in spirit, you asked certain people to be horrible to you. You asked them that. And when in spirit, they were like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want, yes, please, I want you to do that, because that will help wake me up and remember who I am. You are the creator of your experience, and everyone around you are actors in your dream, your play, your creation. When you know that in your heart, it's not looking for acceptance from the outer world, because the outer world is an illusion of your creation. The acceptance is from within. So I heard you say accepting, you're accepting of them and they're not accepting of you, and that hurts. But understand, they can't, it's not that, it's you are the center of it. You are creating this.
And I've had a lifetime of feeling that people don't accept me. So guess what happens? I don't accept me. And, you know, when you're raised that way, it's hard because especially if you're raised that you get your value from externally. So as much as I have been on this path for my whole life, I am still accepting things about me. Like, here's a silly example. I don't like to cook. I should like to cook.
No, why?
I
Why
don't
should
like to
you?
vacuum
Why
my
should
floor.
you like to
Well,
cook?
well, I know those are all the questions, but that's a small example of how deep you can go into not accepting yourself. Instead of just accepting it and just going, this is me. So I think that 2020 has been showing me all those little tiny areas, because those are important, because you've built a foundation on them. And it's the light that is shining the truth on that, you know? So, I'm grateful for it, but it's not always easy. And I so appreciate your input, everybody. You guys, love you so much.
And it's for everyone, because
Yeah.
there are people listening that are going to find this podcast and say, oh my gosh, that's me. Like that is me. I judge myself. I don't accept me either. Go ahead, Sharon. Yeah.
I would like Vanita.
Yeah.
I just, um, I just have a feeling that there is wisdom there ready to flow, and she's not going to say anything. So I would love to hear it flow.
Me too.
Well, I start with Om, first of all. Om is, the primordial. There is no story there at all, but it's pure consciousness energy. And all that I can say is that right now, this is very auspicious, Marie, that we have this gathering today, because today is my day of like going inward and taking the beams in. This higher energy is supplanting all the old. We don't have to struggle anymore. We've done the inner work eons before, but more in this lifetime consciously. And I feel that our stories have been wiped clean. Nobody else's. There's no other story. It's our story. We love telling our stories. Everything is based on concept. And again, truth is relative. So one person's viewpoint differs from another person's viewpoint. It's not absolute truth. Even our personal truth changes day to day. What we see today may be different tomorrow. Let's see what this eclipse brings in. We're told in 2 days will be a bigger shift for each one. Today's truth may become tomorrow's untruth. And knowing that we are power players, we decided, we signed on, we're going to be the light bringers. And when we sign on, the light comes in to supplant that which is not like it. We call that suffering. And in that is the practice of being unattached. So unattached to outcome, unattached to our own storylines. That's where we say what we call ego, but let's call it a small self or personality self. And then there is the Atma or soul self, which is right now landing in this space, in this form, when we say yes. When we say yes, it becomes easier because we say, I'm going to let go my own lower tendencies, not someone else's, my lower tendencies, just working on the self. There's nothing else. And in that comes harmony, grace, balance. We're all looking for balance, internal balance. We're looking for the inner quiet. These are practices we do. That's why going into stillness, we have a practice in yoga called antarmauna. It's called inner silence. It's not just being silent through speech, but that inner chatter, becoming aware of the thoughts that bob up, looking at them, being amused, let them go. Those are our thoughts. Those are the things that create our scenarios. From us, we are the ones holding a belief. We are ones running those thought patterns. We are holding those resentment feelings. We are. And that out picture, that person in that form, let's call it a form. If you don't call it a person, it's much better. Form. That form shows up, that form shows up. Why? Because I ran this. And so this eclipse is beautiful because there's the sun and the moon shadow covers. So the darkness is now being absorbed in the light. And this is going to affect every being on this planet. It's not doesn't matter whether we're in Argentina or in the US where we can't see it. Doesn't matter. The eclipse, the sun affects all of us. We are being gifted to be a receiver. All that we can say is, I receive. And this vastness that we all have been speaking about, but feeling it, this vastness is landing in this personality self and rewriting all the codes that we held in a karmic lifetime. We now don't have to do too much. We now have to say, I am in a state of stillness and surrender, and do what you will. This is the state we are asked to be in December. And as that power comes in, it means that we will create faster because that power is a laser beam. Every thought, every word will be a creation scenario for us and for others. So we become every moment discerning of holding the highest possible vibration in every moment. And we cannot say that we'll be nice to some groups of people and not nice to other groups of people, and nice to my neighbor but not so nice to my spouse. Or you know how we take things for granted. People who live with us, we take them for granted. So the same personality is about being authentic. That light comes in and says, I'm spirit now directing your personality. Be authentic. Express your true self. If you feel resentment, express it. See what comes back to you. You won't like it. Express your whatever you're hiding inside. That is not dissonant. It'll come back to you. Express your harmony and love and peace and forgiveness. It'll come back to you. So this is a turning point. This month of December, we're now waiting for 21st. Every moment we are creating scenarios for all of humanity to play in, not just for ourselves. We'll have a personal experience and we'll have a general experience. Being responsible creators. This is my journey, and I don't even say 3D, 5D anymore. It's like I'm the receiver, it's playing me. I'm holding hands with the beloved outside of time, outside of limitation, with the infinite, and I'm ready for the show to begin. And it's been begun through me. So I'm not going to wait for someone else to do it. If something shows up that doesn't make me feel great, I'm just going into my peace center and say, clear me up. I'm the one holding it. Clear me up. So this is where I'm playing this. It's a beautiful time. We are the light bringers. We, of course, when you start to become the light bringer, you get scraped faster with that. What's the thing? The sanding thing. Yeah, that paper that really scrapes the walls. You know, I forget what it's called, but yeah, it scrapes everything. And then at a certain point, like Sharon said, it just eases up, and here you are. And every form is divinity. Every form, every space that between form and form is divinity. In this space, there is divinity, not just a form. So we go beyond appearances. And that's where I'm playing this game now, in the newness.
Beautiful.
Yes, very true. So true.
I was, when you were talking, I was seeing all of you, honestly, and it is the divine witnessing the divine. That is what truly we are doing. That is truly, if we could just remember It is the divine witnessing the divine. And
Exactly.
you guys were shining so bright and so beautifully. And I had the gift to be able to see the divinity so brilliantly in all of you. And so thank you all. And thank you, Vanita. That was beautiful. And all of your wisdom was just
And that's the flow of like, that is this higher timeline we're moving through. When you listen to Vanita speak, you've spent a lot of time this lifetime mastering these tools, mastering this listening, this authenticity, the letting go. And there's this fluid energy that when you hear it, probably even in our language, if we each listen to our own voices, when we're talking about and somebody's complaining, there's hard edges to the words, right? You can feel that when people are shouting or, emoting in that way. And then when we get to this higher plane, can you even just hear it? It's like our voices become a melody. They do become the song that Sharon, you were describing. And that's the flow of this new earth. And like you said, Vanita, if you want to be in resistance or you want to be in that vibration of reaction or judging or whatever, go ahead and put that out. And you will have that experience of your own creation. And we are also in the time of seeing more and more of that coming quicker and quicker into our experience. But I have learned from some of that myself, and I have watched some of my creations and I have received them come back as a boomerang. And I'm like, oh, that was me. That was me. And then there's something inside, that light presence inside us that you express so beautifully. Fill me up, right? And you go into that peace center that you said. And we have this ability to access that fluid energy that knows those hard edges, and that form and structure it can become vapor. It can just become ether again. It's our attention in it and our belief in it that gives it the structure. And that's true in our own personal lives, and it's true in the collective. It is so beautiful that each of us is a light bringer and a light seeder. And when we are in this higher vibrational place, we are anchoring a frequency in this new timeline, in this new realm that is us. And we're inviting other people to join us there. And it's not to say, because I still have the awareness of the circuitry of the two timelines. And I work with people who are in the lower timeline and they want to rise to the higher timeline. And that may not even be their language. They just might come in pain. And we move this energy. And what I see is energy is the movement, right? This belief is the movement. The light is the movement. And December is all about infusing this planet with so much light. The light is doing the work. People might experience the pain and they might voice the pain that's coming up because it's not in resonance with that light. But if those of us that are accessing the light, if we can feel the fluid nature of light, then we can be a living illustration of how that's moving inside us. And it gives people an alternative to the pain and the boxes that they're feeling that feel so dense and heavy. And I think it's just extraordinary when we get to come together and be witnesses of this in each other. And we said this in the holiday gathering, but I have that song of I see the light in you, for it's the light in me. We are one, right? I feel the light in you that is the same source light in me. We are one. We're living this namaste message as much as we consciously can. That's part of the higher vibrational timeline choosing of this month. And all these events, the eclipse, and we have the solstice on the 21st, and the Hanukkah celebration is currently en route, right? People are celebrating the festival of lights and celebrating the miracle of light. And I so have been feeling, it's been coming through the transmissions, but people of the Jewish faith who have this celebration annually every year that honor the miracle of light and the dedication to the light, right? They've been holding this for us for 2000 or more years, right? Many, many thousands of years, this celebration. We've been celebrating the miracle of light. And right next to them are those who would identify as being of the Christian faith that are celebrating the birth of Christ, which is the Christ light. which is the light. And so I'm feeling gratitude this month. I've never felt it this fully before, of people of all faiths that must at some level celebrate the light in their faith, because the light unites us. And this is that fluid energy. And so I'm feeling this, the wisdom of, we can talk about in 3D, 5D, the division of religion, right? Mine is right and yours is wrong. And that whole story, we all know about that. But the common core, the common thread in all of these is light. And the fact that these faiths, specifically the Jewish faith and the Christian faith that I'm aware of right now, is so anchoring and celebrating the light, I think maybe bigger than we ever have. And then we have this huge solstice celebration and all these cosmological events. And we are these cosmological events. We are this expansion and reception of the light and the embodiment of that. And so as just as we give ourselves permission to embody this light, we're consciously and even unconsciously at deeper levels giving other people permission to embody this light too. Please, Renee. Yeah.
And I was just going to say that all the stuff we've been talking about, that we are anchoring that truth. We are anchoring our desire and our ability to see the divine in everybody. It's not a small thing. So it's anchoring everything in the earth, but it is projecting these huge waves of the truth of who we are. Even though we're struggling with this and that, we can't forget. Remember the other day I was talking about all those faces of cohesiveness. We are the total package of wanting to live in that divine energy. And so each of us has these huge waves of love and light, because we care about each other and we're all helping each other, but it goes beyond that. We care about the entire galaxy, all life, all everything. And just that feeling of caring is huge. It's the divine heart. It's huge waves blanketing the earth and sending them out to the cosmos. So we are, it's easy to go, well, I'm struggling with this. Yeah, you're also blasting this huge light to everybody because of your heart. And so that festival of light, and I agree, Marie, there's been, since this whole pandemic thing, people are more focused on what's important to them, and people are reaching out to most people, to others in little ways. And so I think it's huge. And I think that that we'll be looking back on this time with different eyesight once we go through it and we're able to go, wow, look what we did as a collective and as individuals. Because if we were hanging out in 3D, we wouldn't care what other people thought. You just go do your thing and leave me alone. But we do care. We care deeply. And so thankfully the light and love is leading us and is all around us, and we breathe it. We are it, and it's leading us. It's actually amazing.
I just posted, I don't know if it was a video or a vlog or a blog, but the title of it, no, it was a Facebook post. COVID-19 is humanity's greatest blessing. Greatest blessing, because COVID-19 is the catalyst for humanity's awakening. Without COVID-19 this year, humanity would not be waking up by the masses, and humanity is waking up by the masses, individually and collectively. COVID-19 is humanity's greatest blessing. And I have seen since March, because it was March 21st, I know the day, when Spirit said to me, the mass awakening, the great awakening is happening now. So this whole year, it's from that date anyway, from March, I've been in a state of bliss, and I see it from that perspective. I woke up this morning to the second thing, and I shared with you this before Marie came on, before we started recording, When I woke up this morning, Spirit said, in every now moment, everything is perfect and divine in every now moment. So it's not waiting for December 21st, which is amazing. The great conjunction, and it's amazing. It's when Gaia, Mother Earth, who is a living being, gives birth to the new earth, which is great. But even before, even like I gave birth twice, even before I gave birth, I was still like in this excited, blissful state. So it's not like, oh, I can't wait to next week, which is just a week away, but it's in every now moment to see the blessing, to see the joy, to be thankful in every now moment. And I know that to be so, but when I woke up this morning, Spirit said, just don't ever forget it. The next moment, don't forget it. The next moment, the next moment, the next, every moment is divine. Every person is divine. Everything that's happening is happening in perfect divine order and perfect divine timing. And hold on to that knowing in every moment.
And like you said, that title of COVID-19, our greatest blessing? Is that the
Is
title?
humanity, yes, COVID-19 is humanity's greatest blessing.
And it's as if the universe, God energy, the light that's all around us and inside us, interesting to me, I feel that it gave us a still point and it allowed for a celestial movement through that still point. And in many ways, I think that's 0 point energy, right? 0 point energy is a portal and energy moves through that portal. So it is this beautiful center point inside us. And yet it's invited, it's this point, and then it's also this point of movement of the celestial energy. And all that we're talking about, we understand that people who still are holding in their field, in their form, a tremendous amount of fear around this virus. But the invitation is still there to enter the still point, to enter that center point of peace and grace. And this, I think I texted it to you, Renee, was this what we might call 0 point vision or wholeness vision or 5D vision, whatever we want to call that. But it's also light vision. And it's seeing and feeling and vibrating lighter. And that's how many of us can see this virus and this whole experience as a gift, because we're standing in the center of that still point that source has given to us, and that we as creators in the creation wrote into this story, this virus, right? We've all manifested this so we could be in the still point together and reset in the light's consciousness inside us. And so it is an extraordinary time to be alive. And we're also, as a collective of souls right here, aware that not everybody is yet able to see it with that light vision, with that wholeness vision inside yet, that COVID is a gift, that this year has been a gift. I can't tell you how many emails I've received from people for the holidays saying good riddance to 2020, right? I mean, that's the feeling that a lot of people have, right? Wishing it away so we can hurry up to get to that next thing, which is so the opposite of what you're talking about, Caroline, which is the power and the light and the movement is in the present moment. And it is in somehow finding a way, even if we don't understand, even if someone listening to this is saying, well, I still don't understand that COVID thing. Like, how could that ever be a gift? I just invite you to find something inside your heart center to say, if everything is God, if everything is God energy, if everything is source, then this is source too. And somehow source is here moving us through this story, right? Through this theater, through this experience into the oneness. And we are an example. This roundtable came together in 2020. I don't want to say good riddance to this, right? There were so many blessings of 2020, including COVID, right? And it's all part of the greater dance that we're doing. So in my language, we can activate our wings, which is we can activate our heart chambers and our heart centers. And I'm so grateful for each of you and all of us and all of our listeners who join us, who listen, right? On Color the Magic and Wholesome Mastery, and feel these energies moving through us. And they, like you said, Sharon, you were feeling us, right? We were these witnesses of light, witnessing each other's light. There are listeners who are witnessing this light, and we are witnessing you, because as we gather together, we know we're witnessing humanity's light, and we're witnessing our listeners' light, because you wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you weren't in some way vibrationally attuned to the light inside you. You would miss it on the great wide web, on the internet. You would never even find us. But if you found us, you are resonating with this very same light. That's what light bringers do. That's what light seeders do. That's what these podcasts are here for. So maybe I wanted to ask, as we close this out, if we are in this seeding, this now moment, and Christmas is a now moment, right? And January 1st, 2021 is another new now moment. We are in the now moment. It's like an eternal now. So if we don't talk about the future, the solstice, the first of the year, all these things, and what do we want to seed in the eternal now moment of the higher vibrational essence of light that we are? What would each of you, in a word or a sentence, each like to seed in this eternal now that is grace and joy, and that 0 point portal that is the expansive expression of source energy in us all the time? What would each of you like to seed? Who would like to go ahead, Carolyn?
I'd like to share, because I think I shared this maybe on this podcast before too, that it was September 2019 where I got the message, and I believe I heard it from you first, was that 2020 was going to be the year of clear vision. And that's just resonate, and spirit's like, yes, 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 2020. Now, in 2019, I had no idea. I knew something big was going to happen in 2020. I had no idea what it was going to be. But I do believe, yes, 2020 has definitely been the year of clear vision. Now, in September of this year, Spirit told me that 2021 is the year of unity. And I can see it. Now, you wouldn't see that on the news, but I could clearly see when, after Spirit gave me that download, all these events that I was speaking at were about unity and peace. And I'm like, yeah, wow, that was quick, because 2021 hasn't even got here yet. So I can clearly see that 2021 is the year of unity. And has started already this year, of the world coming together, because now the world is not the world, no matter where their consciousness is raising their frequency. The earth is raising her frequency. Everything on her, every plant, every animal, every being, their vibration is raising, whether they're aware of it or not. And we are coming together because we are coming together in that unity consciousness. So for 2021, I see us as one family, raising our vibration together in unity and peace.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes, Caroline was the one that taught us unity in diversity, which is inclusive in that. And so, yes, I agree with her. I would want to project and see unity, but also to get there, don't focus on your fear or what you don't want or what you're afraid might happen. Focus on what you want. Focus on the unity and the everything working the way it should, that we're all taking care of each other, that we are our brother's keeper.
Beautiful. I felt that deep in my heart, Renee. Really beautiful. Sharon.
Well, I'm seating in fun, okay?
Yes.
I'm having fun.
I go with
Divine
fun.
expression in fun. Okay.
Yeah, good idea.
And I have surrendered to God. Do with me as you want, but I'm having fun. And that's what I'm seeing.
Vanita, thank you, Sharon. Beautiful. We need some fun. It's
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, me too. But in line with what she said, I have this uh, source message that sang to me today. I just want to read it out. And source messages are amazing. Do you know the website source messages?
No.
Amazing. I don't know where it comes from. There's no person. It just says source message.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm going to read it out. Forgive yourself for what was. You may close your eyes if you want. Forgive yourself for what was. Even if you knew better, you weren't in a position to act on it. You've been hit with a lot through the years. You have sacrificed a great deal of your own happiness and peace in the process. You didn't do it on purpose. You did it because it was all you knew. Forgive yourself to release the resentment of anything that lingers through today. You deserve to put your past to rest, even if little by little. The present and future are bright, brighter if you make the choice to drop the bags. Let's flow downstream. It'll make this adventure that much more enjoyable. So let's go wild water rafting.
I was thinking when Sharon said fun, I was thinking, can't we get together and go on vacation next year? The 5 of us on a beach somewhere, sipping Mai Tais, Yes.
Yeah, we
The
are
6
so
of us
good.
married. Yes, as many of us that can. Yes, let's go. Let's go on a round table vacation.
Adventure.
I'm there.
Cheers to that. Cheers to
Yes.
that. Well, everything that you all have shared and seeded, and I know we're going to continue to seed each now moment in these higher vibrational frequencies that we're aware that are seeding in us. The light is bringing so much more to us, expanding us in every moment. And I just want to add that I too, if we talk about 2021, which is now, I've been receiving this message that it's returning us and reuniting us in the heart of one. Same. I mean, these are all mirrors and reflections of the very same living energy. This is living energy. The light is living conscious energy in our breath. We always have to bring that back in here to have the fun and the festivity and the whitewater rafting and the partying, right? We are breathing source with us, within us, who wants to whitewater raft too, right? I mean, Source is like, yeah, Source is all about joy and bliss for all and for everyone. And we're going to learn new ways of being joyful. If 3D has been so much about all these new ways to experience suffering and separation, well, then these higher timelines are all about Source experiencing new levels and forms of joy that we don't even know yet. Right? We don't even know how fun 2021 and every now moment can be when we're breathing Source, who is like surfing these beams of light inside us through our breath. So we are going to be discovering new ways to be unity consciousness and diversity in unity and the joy of diversity in unity and what that looks and feels like. We're being that now. We're seeding that in this garden. And every single one of you brings these precious seeds every time we gather for these podcasts. And every listener adds, whoever comments, right? People participate in their own ways. And I know all of our other friends and the family and the Whole Soul Mastery family, they see their light energy. And so where 2 or more are gathered, create so many brilliant things. So I'm so grateful to be with you as conscious creators and seeders of the light, and our listeners and our whole community here. All of us, everyone who participates in this, is seeding the new light in this now moment. We are this expansion. And so I want to wish everybody a very happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, Mazel Tov, Happy Hanukkah, happy light expansion, right? Happy source breath. We need new expressions, really, right? For these times.
Happy solstice.
Happy
Happy
solstice.
solstice. Don't forget that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, all those
Mm,
blessings. And
yes.
do you guys have anything else to add, or do we just hum the light as the one song that we are?
Much love to all.
Yes. Yes. Much love
Love
to
and
all.
appreciation and gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you. Blessings, everyone. Have a fabulous holiday and faith filled season. We'll see you next time.